Let's start a riot! A riot! Has any other reviewers made a let's start a riot joke? I don't watch other reviews, so I have to imagine I'm the only one. Please don't tell me in the comments. Just let me have this. Welcome to 5 Points of Articulation, where I review action figures and then articulate 5 points to help you decide if you want to add that figure to your collection. The 5 points I discuss are packaging, presentation, posability, playability, and price. I'm Jason, and if you enjoy my content, please like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube rigmarole. Today, we're taking a look at the all-new Marvel Legends Venom 3-pack. It not only includes Venom, but also Riot and Agony. Starting off with the packaging, and this is a windowless box, and while I think I've been pretty blunt about how I feel about these, in this case it doesn't bother me. The reason why I like a window box is so you can see what you're getting, but since this is an online exclusive, you wouldn't be able to see it anyway. Not only that, but this artwork is really good. Why, it's so good they put it on the sides, and also on the back. If you want to get a sense for the story of where these characters came from, here's Venom's write-up, here's Agony, and here's Riot. Notice the part about using his powers to turn into hammers and other bludgeoning weapons. It'll be important later. One thing that did admittedly freak me out was that there was actually no tape holding my box together. When I saw that, I honestly got a little bit nervous and was afraid that the figures weren't in there. The rare time I grade a windowless box so highly for packaging, I'm giving this set 1 whole point. Moving on to presentation, and Agony stands at about 6.5 inches, Venom stands at 7, and Riot stands at 7 3/4. I'm going to start with Agony because she's the one I'm least familiar with. Body-wise, she's a repaint of Shriek, just with a different head, hands, and feet. I honestly can't speak to whether or not those hands and feet are new. If you know if they're reused, definitely sound off in the comments. The head, however, is most definitely new. I love this slimy, swoopy bundle of tendrils passing for hair. Nice wash in there to bring out the detail. It comes to a point at the tip, kind of like the tail of a devil, and I really like this pearlized white that they used for the eyes and mouth. I also like the pinkish purple color scheme. Kinda reminds me of the slime from Ghostbusters 2. That said, I feel like the pink should be a little less rosy and a bit more Pepto-Bismol. Something just a little bit closer to this color on the box art. But color-wise, the one I'm having the hardest time with is Riot. Sculpt-wise, he's just monster Venom with a new head, but honestly I picture Riot being a bit more gray, at the very least a very gray lavender. That said, I do like these bits of purple punched in. That's definitely from some runs of the comic. And hey, if you really don't like this sculpt as Riot, you could always use him as Ultimate Venom, especially considering that they just gave us that version of Symbiote Spidey. Lastly, let's talk about Venom himself. Again, this is mostly the same as the animated series style retrocard version. Obviously, they didn't use this head. They also plugged up these holes. For that, they added these tendril bits. The biggest change, of course, is the lack of cell shading, transforming him into the standard Venom a lot of people were hoping for. One thing that's exactly the same on both is his logo. It's been tampoed on using a 3D paint that gives it the illusion of being sculpted. Mine has the slightest bit of chipping over here, but otherwise it is nice and clean. And honestly, from some of the horror stories I've heard from other collectors, I think I might be one of the lucky ones. I also have a small chip on the white patch on the back of his hand. If only it was a little bit rounder and in the middle of the white patch, it would actually be comics accurate. The coolest thing about this figure is the head. I love this effect of Venom overtaking Eddie's face. The jaw and the tongue reaching out adds a lot of depth. Again, I really like the pearlized paint, and if we could just have an Eddie Brock head based on this sculpt, that would be perfect. When you have a set of figures that are nothing but repaints with only 1 or 2 new parts each, the small details really matter. Things like getting the colors right matter. Quality control and paint chipping matter. These figures are basically fine, but just off enough that for presentation, I'm giving this set 1/2 point. Before we continue, if you like this video, do me a favor and give it a like. I put a lot of love into my videos, and your likes really do help more people to see them. Moving on to posability, and despite being 3 very different figures, the articulation is surprisingly similar. From the top, and all of their heads are on ball joints and disc hinges. They can look up this much, Agony clearly hindered by her hair, and they can look down this far, this time Agony being the best of the 3. All 3 have swivel hinge shoulders, with Agony having the best range. One of the coolest things, however, is that Venom gets forward and back with a butterfly joint. All 3 of them have bicep swivel, but whereas Riot only has single jointed elbows, Venom and Agony are double jointed. Not only that, but thanks to that Shriek body mold, Agony's are pinless. And then traveling all the way down the arm, all 3 have swivel hinge wrists. Shifting to the torso, Venom and Riot have ab crunches and waist swivels. I've said before that I much prefer an ab crunch for Venom because it doesn't break up the logo like a diaphragm joint does, but on the subject of diaphragm joints, that's what Agony has. Since she's on a diaphragm, Agony can only arch back this far and hunch forward this far. Thanks to the ab crunch, Eddie, however, can arch back this far and hunch forward this far. Because of his general girth, Riot can only arch back this far, but he can hunch forward this far. Below the waist, and all three figures have ball-jointed hips. Venom can kick forward this far and split this far. Agony can kick this high and split this far. And Riot can kick this high and split this far. And then moving down the leg, all three of them have thigh cut, double-jointed knees, and ankles that can hinge and pivot. Riot, however, has the added bonus of boot cut. I absolutely love this new Shriek body and the added range it provides. I really love the butterfly joints on this Venom, and while he is limited by the general chunkiness of his proportions, Riot is still pretty poseable. For posability, I'm giving this 3-pack 1 whole point. Moving on to playability, and remember when I told you to remember this part about Riot turning into hammers and other bludgeoning weapons? So here's the alternate glaive hand he comes with. It looks cool and I'm not complaining. I'm just struggling to figure out why you'd set up hammers or bludgeoning weapons here if you were going to do something completely different with him anyway. My theory is that it's because he turned his hands into something very similar in the Venom movie, and Hasbro figured people would recognize that. Agony comes with a pair of fists. I almost feel like a hypocrite because on the one hand I feel like she didn't need to come with anything, but on the other hand if she didn't I would have complained about it. For self-awareness, I'm giving me 1 whole point. Venom also comes with a pair of fists, or at least way he's supposed to. Instead, I was sent 2 of the same, and oddly enough they have the same paint chip in the same spot. The important thing is he does have this alternate head. Really great detail on the face and tongue. Honestly, might be just a bit too much tongue. That's what she said. I think if it was a bit more bendable that would have helped. Either way, I still really like it, and honestly I'll probably display him with this one anyway. But playability is more than just accessories, mispacked or otherwise. It's also about how well your figures play with others. I unfortunately don't have any of the other Life Foundation symbiotes. I do, however, have this retro card Spider-Man. I also have the Game Reverse one. It was made using the Sunfire body mold. Here we have a couple of different versions of Ben Reilly. If you haven't already seen it, I did a versus on these two. For a black costume comparison, and here's Marvel Legends and Mafex. The Hasbro figure uses the same 3D paint for the logo. For a couple of other Spider people, and here we have Miles and Gwen. The Miles is the Game Reverse version. Veering over to some villains, and here's a couple of goblins of the green variety. The short one is Toy Biz, and the tall one is the Marvel Legends retro card. Here we have Dr. Octopus, and now if we could just get Monster Ock from the old PlayStation video game. And for the other members of the original Sinister Six, here we have Mysterio. One of these days I should really get the retro card version. Here we have Electro. This is the retro card version. Here we have Sandman. He's also the retro card version. Here we have Vulture. Fun fact, I actually crazy glued the wings on mine. And Kraven the Hunter. I got this one loose, so he's unfortunately missing his belt. For Venom's first canonical offspring, and here we have Carnage. This is the absolute version from the Venom pool wave. For a larger-than-life Spider-Man villain, and here we have Rhino. Something tells me this would be a pretty fun battle. For a relative scale comparison, here they are with Pizza Spidey and the Spectacular Spider-Man. I think this could work as Ultimate Venom in either line. And as always, here they are with Stealth Iron Man, about to size up Tony Stark's meaty brain. These figures don't come with a lot of accessories, but again, I don't really know that they needed to, and honestly, they've got it where it counts. For playability, I'm giving this 3-pack 1 whole point. This leaves us with nothing left to discuss but the price. The Venom 3-pack is an Amazon exclusive that retails for $77.99. Considering that Riot is technically a deluxe figure, that breaks down to $32 for him, and $23 for Venom and Agony. This is a small but appreciated discount from the increasing Marvel Legends prices that make all of us want to riot. For price, I'm giving this 3-pack 1 whole point for a grand total of 4.5 out of 5. But I know what you're thinking. Jason, where are all the comparisons and head swaps with other Venom figures? That, my friend, is a video for another day. For more Venom videos, check out this one on the King of Black 2-pack, or this one on the animated series style retro card. If you're picking up this set, is it mainly for Venom or for the other symbiotes? Sound off in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back again real soon, but until then, play nice and have fun.